person thinks of you when they first see you.
Right, exactly, when they first see you. So if they're not meeting you, if it's not an interview, then they're looking at an application. They're looking at something that says to the employer something about you. And so this is what a job application does. It tells the prospective employer something about you, who you are, what you know, what you've done, how you've been educated, things like that. It also, an application that's filled out correctly and properly and accurately also tells an employer if you're an honest person, because they will call your references. They'll call maybe the school to find out if you did graduate, if you have a diploma, if you've completed courses. So they'll know if you're an honest person, and conscientious. They'll know that you're conscientious because you've filled out all of the parts. Everything is completed, you haven't left anything blank, you've signed your application, you've dated your application, and the employer just wants to know that they're hiring somebody who can spell, somebody who can write accurately. They don't want to hire someone who doesn't have, 2 cents in their head. It also allows you to become familiar with job application terminology. Sometimes it might say NA. Does anybody know what NA on an application means? N/A? Does anybody know? Corey, do you know?
Not available.
Not available, that would be one idea. Not applicable, exactly. Good answer, Dave. Not applicable means that it doesn't apply. Whatever the question is, it doesn't apply. It might ask you if you have limitations as to what you can do on the job. Do you have any physical limitations? And there might be a spot for not applicable. So you would want to include, you'd want to know at least what that meant. And then it also allows you to be prepared for a job interview. They may ask you about addresses and phone numbers of previous employers, and you have all of the information on the job application that you've already submitted. So these are just some of the reasons why it's important that we learn how to do an application, that we learn how to do it accurately and correctly. Okay, any questions about why we need to know how to fill out a job application? All of you want to get a job or get a better job? You don't want to be working at Jack in the Box for the rest of your life? Okay, so these are parts of a job application. Can you all see that? Can you guys in the back see that? Okay. So the first one is personal data. I have seen students who have done applications, they don't know their address. They're not exactly sure what city they live in. They don't know their zip code or their phone number. You need to know all of your personal information. Your driver's license number, that may be something that they're interested in, especially if you're getting a job as a delivery person. They're going to want to maybe check out your driving record. So all of those things. Availability, what do you think that means? Does anybody know? Karen, do you know? No? Does anybody know what availability means? Scott, do you know?
To be available.
When you can work. When you can work, and maybe when you can even start working. Maybe you have a job, or you're going out of the country, or you're traveling somewhere, and you're not going to be available for another week or 2 weeks, and that's something that the employer is going to want to know. Limitations, we talked about that. Maybe physical limitations, you can't lift things, you have bad knees, you have whatever your physical limitations may be. That might be on the application itself. And I've even seen on some applications they may ask you, what interest do you have in our company? What do you know about our company? How did you hear about our company? Why do you want to work for us? And that's something that you should think about, and you should have some idea. Because I need money, or I just want to get paid, isn't really a good reason for applying at that company. You believe in their product, or you like their product. Maybe it's a job at a fast food place, and you enjoy the food, and that's where you want to work. Educational background. Everything from high school and up is what the employer wants to see. They don't care where you went to elementary school. They don't care where you went to junior high. They want to know high school and beyond. And think, when you were in high school, did you go to maybe a occupational center or a skill center, somewhere where you received additional educational information that was not necessarily at your own home high school, but somewhere else? And you always want to list your most recent school location first, and then go back from there. Work experience. You may not have ever had a job before. Most of you are in high school, so most of you have not worked. A lot of you have not worked before. Some of you are currently working now. You don't want to leave this area blank. You want to complete to complete it as thoroughly and as much as you can, give them as much information as you can, include all paid and